Hello again. Thank you very much for joining me here on Movie Ninja. Tonight, going to be talking about Obi Wan Kenobi, Season 1. Got a bad feeling about this. So, not going to mince words, not going to dance around this. It wasn't bad, per se. But it wasn't good. So, with this Kenobi series, we know, if you're someone that has been with Star Wars fandom for a while, even if you are someone who has just been with the series as far as the original trilogy, maybe not the prequel trilogy, maybe not the sequel trilogy, but just right in the middle, you understand this and you hopefully accepted it as a prequel series going into it, which I did. Okay. So with that comes the understanding that there will be a lot less tension in regard to very specific characters, particularly the Skywalkers, Luke and Leia, and Anakin, and a few other, inevitable events that are coming on the horizon. What I had hoped would come about through this series was just a bit more introspective of who Obi-Wan is post Order 66. Because he was an exalted Jedi Master, now living in exile, now living as a fugitive, but also trying to maintain some sort of guardianship for Luke, So we get a little bit of that at the very, very front end of this show. And then from this one possible storyline, we have a splintering, just like it's a multitude of directions that didn't really come together particularly well, I felt. So in this, you have Obi-Wan's story, but you also have Leia's story. You also have Anakin's story. You also have Owen and Beru and Luke. I'm lumping them in all as one because even though they were there, it still felt superfluous for them. Like, okay, we're gonna catch up with them later. Touching base with them in episode 1, I understood, but just the way that it came about, it's like it was crowded. So Owen, Beru, Luke, Reva, and the Resistance fight. Like I'm gonna front the Resistance as embodied by Talia, because she was the most interesting character. She was someone that we didn't know, so we didn't quite know where her story was going, and she doesn't have impenetrable plot armor. There are some characters that we didn't have to worry about because there's no point in worrying about them. We know that they go on, to become pivotal, important characters, even in contemporary canon, So, we knew that they're safe. No matter what happens during the show, hopefully it would be an entertaining story anyways. But we didn't have to worry about them. And we knew that. Okay? It would be far too easy and far too time consuming to go over the coulda, shoulda, woulda. Of all of those. And the thing is, with sci-fi nerds, we tend to do that. We tend to sort of belabor, if this had been done this way, then it would have been so much better if they would have just done this. So, admittedly, I'm not going to go over everything that I would have preferred had taken place, but there are a few things. Just to air out. This was 6 episodes. At most, it should have been 4. I would have preferred a streamlined story. The story that I was most interested in, and that I was just waiting, when are we going to get back to it? When are we going to move on to this? Is Obi-Wan and Anakin. That story. The way that things concluded at the very end of Revenge of the Sith, which doesn't have Obi-Wan in the best light, by the way. Obi-Wan stands on the sideline while a pregnant woman is being choked with his hands on his hips and just very like, you shouldn't be doing that, Anakin. And then when it actually comes to the point for him to, have this duel with this character, Anakin, then he doesn't even have the... And I understand why. Because of their feelings of fraternity. He doesn't want to directly end him by his own hand, but at the same time, it did make me feel like at the very end of Revenge of the Sith, it was very much a cowardly gesture to just let him die slowly to be consumed by lava. And I understand. He's sobbing, he's weeping, sincerely, passionately. He's like, oh, you were my brother, and I didn't want any of this to happen. But at the same time, you didn't care how slowly you assumed he perished. And at the very beginning of the show, we do see that there is, he has PTSD. He has psychological, emotional fallout from his regrets. And that's what I wanted. I wanted something more, like I said, introspective. And from where we are in episode 1 versus episode 6, it's just inches, centimeters from where we ended in Revenge of the Sith. This was a 6-episode replay. Pretty much. There's nothing as far as a takeaway that really changed anything, unfortunately. At the very beginning of the season finale, we have a showdown with Obi-Wan and Vader. Okay, now, some of you are saying, well, there was another one earlier in the show, I believe it was episode 2 or episode 3, either way, where you get to see Obi-Wan just engulfed with his own fear. Because, it's one thing to, imagine, what if I have to, what could I have done differently? What could I have done better to prevent so much tragedy? But it's another thing to be confronted by your mistake, or what he perceives as his mistake. So, at the very end of this confrontation, I think the only thing that's sort of new here is that Anakin gives him some type of, a twisted form of forgiveness. He says, don't blame yourself for me. An oddly generous gesture, especially since from the lead-in to this confrontation, the lead-in to the fight, he does, not entirely sure why he would even care. It's oh, I'm so sorry that you're all broken up about turning me into a chicken nugget. But it's not on you. Don't worry about it. Everything that I did, all of the betrayal, all of the murders, that's on me, buddy. You don't have anything to feel bad about. And yes, I'm being just the tone of it. Yeah, I'm kind of mocking it a bit, but that's our payoff. It barely moves at all at the very end of it all. Is that okay, I've seen this before. It's Revenge of the Sith. That's it. Okay. And once again, Obi-Wan confronts Anakin. And once again, we have the same outcome. That's it. And once again, Obi-Wan walks away. Yeah, I know that. I was joking with a buddy of mine as we were watching this. Do you think he's gonna finish off Darth Vader? I mean, obviously. That's the joke. I mean, like, okay, they're building this up into this really big, grandiose thing, but we know he survives. You know, we know Obi-Wan survives. We know Darth Vader survives. We know where their paths lead. So, yeah. As for the other stories, I've said this once, and like, if I've said it once, I've said it 1,000 times. You can be many things, but you cannot be boring. In all of these different, like A, B, C, D, E, like plots, I was just waiting. Like, more often than not, I felt like I was waiting for something significant to happen. Because once again, if you're focusing on characters that have set futures, then I don't have to worry about anything. I don't. And that's not me being, like, too cool for school or me being dismissive of the very basic writing that is taking place here. It's just because I don't need to worry. I don't need to worry about what happened to Leia. She goes on to be a senator, you know? And she has, like, later adventures, you know, in the original trilogy and beyond. Same as with Luke. I don't have to worry about him at all. I was hoping that Talia would somehow be spared, because I really did enjoy that character. But overall, the lead-in and the payoff did not meet expectations, unfortunately. I don't give grades to, unlike film, when I do my film reviews, I don't give grades to TV series. But I don't think I can completely give this series a recommendation. I think if you are a completionist, then okay, and you want to just like, I mean, you actively do want to watch as much of the Star Wars story from start to finish as possible. Okay, this will still have substance for you, and that's good, you know. I'm also like a big advocate of like, if you just don't like something, then don't commit to it. Like as far as media is concerned, okay? Because there's always something better to do. Do not ever feel like you have to suffer through something for the sake of saying, well, I wanted to see if it got better. And the thing is, like, I held out hope, and it was just more mediocre than anything. Yeah. And for those that watch my channel, you know I don't like to be negative about this, but I can't sugarcoat something that was as boring and disappointing as this kind of turned out to be. There are some, like, and once again, it's not all bad. It isn't. It's passable as far as expanded Star Wars media is concerned. There are definitely entries in the Clone Wars, Rebels, the Bad Batch. Yeah, this is definitely not the worst that is on offer. And I know that some people will say, like, well, that's not too much of an endorsement. I'm not trying to endorse it. I'm saying that only if you are a completionist, then this might have some value for you. But for the most part, if you've seen Revenge of the Sith, you've seen Obi-Wan. It's kind of it. And like I said, there are details that I'm kind of leaving out here because look at the timestamp. Okay? Is it 10 hours long? No. You're and I guarantee you're not going to be entertained by me just going on and on about the things that were lacking for me. As far as the things that weren't lacking, I still felt that Ewan McGregor did a pretty decent job, you know, as Obi-Wan. I don't know the actress who played the little girl version of Leia, but she did okay. I'm not gonna, you know, pretend like I didn't believe in the gravitas of that 6-year-old's performance in the show. She claims to be 10. I have a 5-year-old niece, and so like she might be 1 or 2 years older. That like she might be like 7. Does it really matter? Not at all, you know. But for her part that she played, she did okay. You know, she was a cute little kid to play a cute little kid role, so she actually did it okay. They start to get a little bit more using John Williams like score, as well as like some John Williams-esque, because it wasn't all him. Like sort of atmospheric music for this, and yeah, there's some value to that, sure. But all in all, this did not meet expectations, and I wish it had. Maybe the next season will be better. There's always that buzz. I'm not sure if they confirmed another season, but I would like for it to be a bit more streamlined and just let's move on. We've taken this like stories that build up to and expand on the original trilogy. I feel like it's as far as they can go. You know, let's move away from the Skywalkers. Let's move away from the Clone Wars, please. Okay. So, but those are my thoughts. Hey, if you enjoyed it, if you watched the show and enjoyed the show, then good. I'm glad. As I said, I don't ever think that people should feel like they have to suffer through any media that they want to enjoy. So, if you liked it, kudos. Good. I'm glad you got entertainment value out of it. For myself, unfortunately, it was mediocre and bland. So I honestly can't give this a particularly strong recommendation. Sorry, guys. Not sorry. Anywho, thank you very much for joining me here on Movie Ninja, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.